Hey everyone, George here and welcome back to the channel. So we're going to be talking about this particular tank right here. We're going to be saying goodbye to this tank one last time. It's been a really difficult decision to make, but it's time for this to go and be replaced with something much more spectacular. This is a really special tank to me, and I'm going to go into details about this when we come back. So hang in there with me, and we'll be right back. It is so hard to say goodbye to an old friend, and this tank is exactly that. I have had this tank set up for over a year and a half, and this tank is very meaningful to me. It has a lot of memories that those of you who follow this channel know and can relate to. I put this tank together over a year and a half ago, and it has had some subtle changes to it. For the most part, though, it has stayed pretty much the same. But it's time for it to go because I have to make way for a new tank that I will be putting in here that will be a 100-gallon DISCUS tank. I do not have any more room in my gallery unless I start expanding to another facility or another room in my home, and I don't really think that's going to go over real big with my family. I've really taken a lot of space up over the last couple of years to create an environment for this hobby to thrive, and so therefore it's really hard for me to let this go. But we have to make way for the new by getting rid of the old, and that is exactly what I am going to do. I've thought about this for several weeks now, and it really is something that I'm hoping that my son will like to have in his home and be able to make room for. Getting this tank ready to be moved and tore down to a point where it's not completely destroyed is really going to be the challenge here, and that's something that I'm going to have to put a lot of thought into. Right now it is being used as a quarantine tank for this small 3-inch discus and a couple of Ultim Angels that will be going into the bigger tank along with the other discus fish that I have downstairs. And it will be an absolutely beautiful tank that will replace this. But there's something about an old tank like this that is in perfect shape that makes it really hard to take it down and to get rid of it, and it's very emotional, to be honest with you. There's a lot that goes into this, and a lot of memories that go with it. The collection of the stone, as I mentioned, up in Montana with a trip that my son and I took last summer to collect these very, very unusual stones that are really, really pretty. He has similar stones that we collected and put together at a tank in his home, and it's just really, really emotional and difficult to do, but I'm going to do it, and I am going to figure out a way to hopefully dismantle this in such a manner that I don't destroy it. And that just means that I'm going to have to take my time and put a lot of thought into how that is done. Anyways, I just wanted to make a short video on this because, as I said, it's an emotional time when you do something like this. For those of us who are in this hobby and we put the tanks that we do together, some of them are really special to us, and some of them are only meant to be around for a short period. I thought this was going to be a forever tank in this gallery, and I just do not have room for it. I've thought of every way that I can think of to keep this tank going, and I just don't really see any possibilities for doing that. But like I said, the fish that are in here will be repurposed. The plan is actually to use the rummy nose tetra that are in here, the Ultim angels, and the discus to go along with the other discus that I have to fill that 100-gallon tank that will be sitting in its place here. This is a much bigger area than what this tank appears to show, and a 100-gallon will fit very comfortably here with about 5 inches on both ends and about 7 inches front to back, and plenty of room on height, no problem there. All new lighting is going to go in here. It's going to be a really fantastic build, and we're going to do a step-by-step of that over the next couple of months as I begin to get things. Right now, it's hard to get anything in the hobby. There are either stores that don't have anything right now and are not getting things very quickly because of COVID, and even though COVID is winding down, they are finding it very, very hard to find suppliers that can get things to them. The big box stores are the same way. The mom and pop stores are the same way. I have been very fortunate and been able to get things during this pandemic in a reasonable amount of time. But the 100-gallon tank that's going to go in here has been on back order now for about 3 months. I always knew that I was going to be putting a 100-gallon tank into this gallery. I just didn't know really where it was going to go, and it came down to this particular spot because it is the main focal point of this gallery room, and the best point to observe the fish that are going in here, which are going to be the most expensive fish and the most expensive scape that I have ever done. And the thousands of dollars that are going to go into this require an area where they can be displayed and appreciated, and that's hard to do. So anyways, thank you for joining me. Please hit that like button, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends. Also hit that bell up at the top in the corner right up here, and that will give you an opportunity to catch up on any new videos that I might put out, and give you a chance to see them before anyone else if you are part of that group of people that do follow me by using that bell. Now, subscriptions are up. Viewership is down in the last couple of videos. I think it's probably because we are coming out of COVID and people are spending more time outside. And I don't blame them. I really don't. I understand it and I get it. But if you can take a minute to watch this video and to share it with some friends, and definitely hit that like button, I would sure appreciate it, because it really is going to mean a lot to the long-term survival of this channel. Now, as I said, I do this for a hobby. This is not my work. Those of you who know me, who know my background, know that I do something else for a living, and this is just really a hobby for me, and it's one that I love, though. I've really enjoyed it. The creativity, the artistry that goes into putting these tanks together is really quite amazing, and only I would say only unstoppable by your imagination. Whatever your imagination is able to bring you is what your limitations are with building these tanks. And if you're like me, your imagination is always working and you're always looking for opportunities to put more and more creativity into these tanks to make them look good. I love this tank. It's a beautiful tank and I don't really want to get rid of it, and I'm hoping my son can find a place in his gallery at his house to put this, and we can move it in a way that doesn't damage it. And we're going to put a lot of thought into that over the next week or so before the new tank comes. Now, as I said, the new tank has been on backwater and I keep getting excuses from these people, but finally on Friday I did hear from the person who I have been dealing with about this particular tank, and they said that they were going to ship out over the weekend. So I'm hoping that this new 100-gallon beautiful tank, all-in-one tank, is going to show up here in the next few days and we can get started on the build. It's going to be really a departure from anything I've done in the past, simply because I use a lot of plants and I use a lot of darkscape, not darkscape, a lot of dark substrate, I should say. And for DISCUS, that's just not the best situation. So we're going to see a lot of pieces of wood in here, less plants, more lighter substrate, and of course a much bigger tank with lots of room for these fish to grow. There will be a total of 7 DISCUS in here, 2 Ultim angels, which are a pair. I've already seen some activity where I know that these 2 angels will over time likely pair up and probably breed. And of course the rummy-nosed tetras, I've had them forever. They're beautiful fish. They've grown and they're very strong and really perfect fish for this tank. They go very well with the angels. They go very well with all the DISCUS fish. And I think it's going to look great. So anyways, thank you again for joining me. I didn't mean to not be on camera today for this, but I wanted to make an announcement on this because this tank is going to go away. And if you don't see it in the gallery, hopefully we can periodically give you updates on this tank at my son's house. He says he's willing to take it if he can find room. So we're going to scout that out over the next few days and see if we can find room for this tank to be displayed in a way that it should be displayed, and keep it nice and healthy, and put some of his own fish in here. A well-seasoned tank like this that is cycled really well is going to be a perfect home for just about any community tank where you just have a particular group of fish and then a centerpiece or focal point fish or 2 that really make this tank pop. And we've got some great ideas for that if this works in his home. So anyways, thank you again for joining me. We will see you on the next one. Until then, take care.